Hello and welcome back to the I'm Lost with Myself podcast.
I want to click on it and go, yes, he did.
Oh, the audience is doing this.
More blending.
It needs a bit of amending at the moment, but it works for me.
I do have some news.
Some news?
Some news. This is where we need a dun, dun, dun.
I would suggest a bit of both.
Does that mean you're going to become a moody, miserable, argumentative, always right person that sits in a cube? Just putting out there with your cat.
Well, first I'd need to get a cat.
I'm Lost, the podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the I'm Lost podcast with myself, Elliot, also known as eegltn, and Filthy Reflection. Coming up in this week's podcast, we're mixing things up.
Mixing things up. We're going to be discussing DJ controllers, DJ decks, how to get from the bedroom to the club, or the best ways to do so, some other little bits of information regarding playlists and all that sort of good stuff.
We do love we do love a good mix, don't we?
We do. But as you well know, I am getting back into the DJ scene, hopefully, in a whole new town with a whole new different way of DJing the lot. So I got some questions for you. I've got my approaches, but I want to see what your thoughts are on this as well, and we'll just get it all out there. First of all, first question, just a quick yes or no. Battle style or club standard?
Club standard.
I was so waiting for you to say yes or no then.
Oh, yeah. How do I answer yes or no?
That's the way I phrased the question, which really confused me when I said it, but I thought, we know what I mean. Club standard is what you're saying, yeah?
Club standard.
See, I've been on the battle style for a little while, haven't I?
You have tinkered with it.
Yeah. And I kind of got used to it, and I like the stems and stuff, but, playing in a club, you don't get those facilities. So it's pointless continuing. So now I'm sort of working with a slightly more club standard-esque controller, so that it's more club-like. But you can't be using stems, even though I've got them if I wanted to. Which we'll come on to in a minute. But yeah, I'm trying to go back to the club standard, and I'm finding it really tough. Where I used to use stems all the time, I could play any song I liked with any song and mix them together using stems, and every single mix I did, it might not work every time, but it sounded really good every time. From a technical point of view, sometimes they may have been a little bit of a clanger, but 99% of the time it worked. But now I'm having to sort of reteach myself more blending sort of mixing, and trying to do the quick mixing without stems, I find is quite tough. So I wanted to have a look. I don't know if you know, but I wanted to have a look at what's good for a beginner DJ that sort of works in the bedroom and prepares you for the club. What controller would you say, or what setup would you say you should probably invest money in?
Well, if you're looking to use standardized things, I would say you have to look at something Pioneer esque, because that is the majority of the standard. It then also comes down to what price you want to do, what other bits you want included. You said that you like playing with stems. Are those stems audio files on their own, or are they stems by analyzing.
Through software. So they're just the 4 buttons or 8 buttons, depending on what type of controller you got. That's how I've been doing it. Although I've mapped my own buttons, so I had 4 hotkeys, and the other 4 pads were for stems, so that I could be on the same page doing hotkeys and stems all at the same time, which again that gave you a whole new dimension on top of having stems at the time, because you didn't have to switch between different modes. It's all on the same thing, so you could end up doing quite a lot of cool trickery.
Well,
but sorry, go on.
The key to it is having fun and experimenting. So if you have I'm not saying that this is an ideal one necessarily for someone beginning, but if you had a 4-channeled mixer or controller or whatever, you could use your 2 main channels as your standard transition tracks and whatnot. But then on your outsides, you'll have 2 extras, which you could play loops or stems from. So you could have a bit of fun and create new, interesting ideas that way.
You could, and to be fair, I mean, I was looking at recording stems out using software and then putting them at the end of its normal track, and then analysing that file into Rekordbox, so that if I want to use stems, I could just take the vocal from it, or perhaps I could go a little bit further and just bounce out 2 different versions. So I'd have the normal one anyway, I'd have the vocal only, and then just the beat only or something, and work it that way. I was trying to work out all different ways I could do it, but do it so that it's painful, but so that I could do all of that on 2 decks. And there is a way, because I don't know if you're familiar with hot cue banks on Pioneer equipment.
Yeah, I've had a little look at them.
Yeah, so obviously you could use the hot cue banks as like your cue point on your original track as where you'd want to come in, and then you could just load it from that, and then you could load the vocal on its own on another button at a specific place, and you could do the same with the beat. So if you got to a certain point in the original track, you can then just quickly press one of those buttons, and it will use the cue bank system to jump straight to that part of the track, and maybe do it that way, because you can do that on like the CDJ 2000 Nexus 2s. I think you can do it on 1s as well, but it might be a little bit slower on the older technology. I'm not sure about that. I'd have to find out. But this is the issues I'm facing. Like how will it work if I'm using obviously you're going to be using Pioneer gear in clubs. You're going to be using 2 decks most of the time. Occasionally you might have a third. If you're very, very lucky, you might have 4. But commonly it's 2, isn't it? So whatever you do, you got to try and make sure that everything you're doing will work on the 2000 Nexus 1s, essentially, at the moment, and knowing that you will only have 2 decks. Which, it's kind of... when you're looking for DJ equipment, if you're a beginner or something, that's you need to be thinking about these things. I think there's a lot of options out there. Although having said that, there isn't as many options as there is as there used to be.
A lot of good options have disappeared. I will say that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're coming straight in at the bottom at the moment, you've got like was it a Flex 2, which is just completely useless to anyone, if you ask me.
Was the Flex 2 the replacement for the 200?
Yes.
Which was...
Same with the Flex 4 being the replacement of the DDJ 400.
Right. Let's talk about that.
It's the Alpha Beta version, isn't it?
Yeah, we won't get into the name change and how they've changed everything.
No.
It's when you get into this, you get attached to how a brand has made and maintained its products, and there's been a bit of a shift with it, and some things are good and some things are just blatantly out there to pick more cash up.
Yes.
But going back to your beginner question, is Pioneer software free?
It is. You can download Recordbox and use it as a file management system for free. And if you buy a controller or a piece of hardware that you would DJ from, that needs a computer, then it'll unlock the software, and that includes like stems and everything. There is no sort of cut off of what they allow. I think the only time you need to pay a subscription,
I think it's for their cloud service, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it is for doing all that sort of stuff, and having like I forget what I was saying now. There is another reason why you do it as well. I can't think of for the life of me what that is. But yeah, so you don't actually need it, which is good. And you get stems for free, which I just have to add here. Recordbox stems, fucking shite. Just don't even bother. Waste of time. It is awful. It sounds like, if you're trying to just pick the vocal up, it sounds like someone in your bathroom is singing downstairs. It's just pointless. Absolute waste of time. Anyway, gripe over.
They're a good company.
Yes, yeah, apart from that, everything else is good. And to be fair, though, I've just bought the Flex. No, I haven't. I have not bought the Flex 10.
No, you bought
I was going to buy the Flex 10.
Yes.
Groove.
Yes.
The Groove 6, which I knew nothing about, really. I had a quick look at it and thought, well, it's a lot cheaper than the Flex 10. There's good reasons to have the Flex 10, because you could buy some CDJs and add to it, which you can't on the Groove 6. But it's decent sized platters. It's only 700 quid, which to me, if you're starting out, you're a beginner, maybe get a Flex 4. They're only like 300 quid or whatever they are. Yeah, 280, I think. Start off with one of those, see if you like it. If you do, then jump up and get the Groove 6, or if you can really afford it, then head up to the Flex 10. But that's a lot of money, £1,500 touch.
Yeah, they do get more expensive as you go up, but I think going back to the good old days, the 200 was a handy little controller. Unfortunately, that's been. I
think we did some DJing on the waterfront with that.
Yeah, we've had some fun with that. You stick it in a bag and you can go anywhere with it. Then you have.
Having said that, the Groove 6, mate, it only needs your laptop to power it.
Does it?
Yeah.
What about the 400? The 400 still a
Flex 4? No,
just the 400.
Oh, the 400. I think that's just laptop powered as well.
But that would have been a good controller for a lot of people to start on.
Yeah, I think the Flex 4, because the Flex 4's taken over, hasn't it?
The Flex 4's taken over.
400 was.
Yeah.
So that is a good controller to start with.
It has all your basic functions. It gets, you get to taste for it. It's not too expensive.
The platters are a bit small, and it's a bit strange if you were to jump from your bedroom to a club. So you'd want to go for bigger platters, I personally believe.
Yeah, but I also probably wouldn't be. I wouldn't. You'd be building up your skill on that, and then to a different controller before you head to a club. I wouldn't go from a 400. I wouldn't go from a Flex 4 straight to a club. That is a bit of a step up. I mean, there's a few functions that are the same, but there's also some that really aren't.
Yeah, and it's a little bit annoying that these controllers and stuff, like for muscle memory, things are always in a different place, and there's always slight differences. So if you jump from a controller to a club, suddenly the tempo adjust seems like stupid on a CDJ. It's massive in comparison to a lot of controllers, and it throws you. And it's just a little thing, but it will throw you quite a bit as soon as if you haven't thought about it. And the same with the platters as well. Like CDJ platters, you have to give them a good old chug round. Whereas like a lot of the controllers, you can just move it a tiny little bit to get it into place. So there's lots of little things that controllers versus like the CDJs you would find in a club, and it's worth noting that it's going to be different. So you want to try and find the best match. Try and work out what all those little niggles are, and eliminate as many as you can. Really, I think, and then you've got yourself a really good controller that you can step into the club with and DJ on their stuff.
So once you've transitioned from your beginner stage and you've done a few mixes, you're getting good at it, what would you say is the next step?
Glad you asked that, because I think you once you've mastered like the mixing side of it, you really need to master. I'm going to quickly shoot through some of this because there's a point I want to get to, but you want to sort of work on all your music choices. It doesn't matter necessarily about your mixing ability at this point. You've got it, good, move on. And now it's down to finding the right music. But it's also finding the right music for the right venue plus what you like playing. So you need to be able to find venues to play in that you would like to play that style of music. So then, of course, you need to start going out to the type of venue that's playing the type of music that you like playing and that you like listening to and that you can see yourself DJing, and see what that DJ is playing in that venue, see how well all the music's going down, then work your playlist around that and constantly keep it up to date. Even if you are out DJing, hang around for the next DJ, see what he's playing. Don't just go home and take £200 or whatever. Just actually sit there and listen to what they're playing and see what you can add from their music into your set. Maybe try and find a different remix so that you're not playing exactly the same song or whatever. I think that would be your next approach, really. Just visit lots of clubs and see what other DJs are doing and build on your music collection and make sure you've got folders for everything. And which brings me on actually to prep, like playlist, set list. Like what do you do with your music? Do you just put it all in one big massive folder of 15,000 songs, or have you got a process?
I do have a process. It's probably not the most streamlined, but it needs a bit of amending at the moment, but it works for me. The way in which Rekordbox works is you can have folders and collections. So you can create different folders for, obviously, they're just like folders. And then you can have collections. So I have them in kind of styles. And then they're just a big bank of styles. And then I have like an extra one, which is all my kind of current favorites. And this is a bit weird because I've heard, I think it was a while ago, so I could be wrong in how I'm saying it, but I'm pretty sure Carl Cox, which is, if you're in the DJ industry, you know he's a legend. He has his playlists where he has like 100 songs in it, and he just can scroll through and see, oh, the audience is doing this. I'll look through my 100 songs and go, that one. He just has a big list of them, which I've kind of adopted in a way. So Yeah, that's my process. I know your process is completely different though.
Yeah, and to be fair, I've had to change it a little bit now, I think, and I don't know whether I've changed it for the worse or not. I need to, because obviously I want to try and play a specific style. So if I'm doing like a bar, it's, Afro house, deep house, maybe a sprinkling of tech house. It's a little bit in the lower BPM range. So I'm trying to put let's say I'm trying to put a bar playlist together, and so that I know I've got enough music for 4 hours. So I'm making like 8 folders, so that I know in the first folder it's very slow, and in the eighth folder it's getting up some better tempo up to the sort of 130 area almost, so like 128s, I guess. And I'm trying to work that out. And to be fair, for the bar stuff, that works. And I've got a really cool playlist. I've got some really cool mixes, remixes, and all sorts of stuff going on. And that works. But for the club stuff, it's a little bit different. Because where I used to, I could technically, playing the stems and stuff, I could easily play a club. And I can jump around from all sorts of genres. And even if the genre folder was like hip hop, 9 times out of 10 it would be a remix, so it would be of a sensible tempo. The only time I've actually got a folder genre that I call it a genre of sexy, and that's got all like your R&B stuff in it. That's sort of 60 to 90 beats per minute, maybe up to 100. So you got a massive range there, but that's fine if you're playing with stems. You can do anything you like with that. But now, because I want to have, I used to be able to play the same thing, and you come to a gig and you'd be like, oh yeah, I've heard, the audience wouldn't notice, but you would notice, oh yeah, he did that transition last time, and it's, I've learnt it, it's good, it works, and I play that set through, and yeah, that's all good, and then I'll jump out of that folder and into another one where I know I can, and where I know it will work for the room and all that sort of stuff. But now I'm trying to do it so that I've got folders where I can just run through the folder, pick out what I want, drop the occasional one, because I know it's like a half an hour folder, but I know I've got like 50 minutes of music in there, so I can just play whatever I want. And I've realised it starts to get very complicated with prepping, and fuck, I hate prepping. You need to, but I hate it, and I'm back at the beginning of prepping from scratch, and I haven't been here for a few years. So now I've got to think about hot cues, cue points, like what do I need to edit in Ableton so that I know I've got a really good mixing point, or do I get rid of some vocal, or do I just have vocal, all those sorts of things. But I'm trying to work it so that you can dip in and out of any of them and play a different set every single time, but so that everything is 100% prepared, no matter what I do. And all I want to do is cry. It's painful.
Well, that is part of the process, prepping.
Yeah. It is. A lot of DJs will say it's 95% of the job.
It's not all glitz and glamour.
No.
Another part of the job is practice.
Yes.
So, yeah, if you want to, sounds like an ad campaign. It's not. If you want to transition from your own parties to clubs, and you've not got the kit that they use, I would suggest, and I think you would as well, going to some kind of rehearsal rooms. I'm not saying the name. But no,
why? They're really good.
They are spread out. We're not endorsed by them. If they would like to, that would be nice. But yeah,
definitely
they got the
kit
into
those sort of places.
You can practice there. It will just.
They're pretty cheap, to be honest. They're not stupid money, are they?
No, not at all.
Well, I booked a room for next week, I think, the week after, sorry, and I think it was £27 for 3 hours.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I'm quite happy with that. I mean, sorry, go on.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask, do you mix in key?
Sometimes it depends, because personally I think the whole you must mix in key is a load of shit, because you'll never get anywhere through your playlist if you were to mix in key, and you'd really have to prep every single song. And when someone says to you, can you play this, you're like, no, it's not in key.
It's not in key, mate.
So, I mean, yeah, I do believe the way I play in key, I think there's multiple ways to play in key. You can either play 100% in key, or stupid tosses, or you can play like you start at the bottom and work your way up through the keys, up to the F sharp, which is where you've got the real energy, you know. And the same with BPM. For me, I work the BPM with the key, so you build up and up and up. And then, you know, if you need to, you get to a certain point, you can half time and come back to like some drum and bass or something, or, you know, drop down to the 70s for techno, you know, something like that. But yeah, I believe building up in key like that. And I also believe if you are going to use stems, or if you're going to try and find a way to use stems on club gear or whatever, I think, yeah, it's very important to use key if you're going to have a vocal over the top of some bass line. But apart from that, no. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that does. You seem very passionate about it.
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I'm not, and I am all at the same time. What about you? Do you focus on key, or do you just do you go for the beat on beat and it doesn't really matter too much, or?
A bit of both. It depends. It depends how you're bringing the next one in. Because if you're bringing two melodies in and they're off key, you notice.
Yeah.
So for that, you bring it in on. You try and find something in key, but otherwise, you know, experiment.
Yeah. I have. That's all I've got on the decks for today. I do have more. We have to do another one a bit more detailed and stuff at some point. But I do have some news.
Some news.
This is where we need a dun dun dun.
We need some sort of news music in here now.
Yeah. Breaking news. That'll do it. I love it.
The I'm Lost news.
I'm Lost news, yeah. Do you know what? I reckon we probably should do a news channel, because every time I look at the news, you think, okay, so I want to know if this guy has done this thing, and you have to read through about 17 paragraphs before they say he might have. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, I want to click on it and go, yes, he did. Right, brilliant, lovely. Next item. I don't want all the waffle. Don't care. As I'm waffling. Yeah, news then. So we've got news. Have you heard about this, right? This has shocked me. I only found out today, and then I had a little research and I found even more. You know PMT, the music store? Got many all up and down the country, haven't they?
PMT, yeah.
Yeah. They're closing down, mate. They've gone into liquidation.
What?
Yeah, they have like a turnover. Well, actually, not them, but they're part of Jamco. Like Jamco owns them. I don't know if you're familiar with Jamco, but the whole company's gone into liquidation. I mean, Jamco, they were turning over like 50 million a year, like big numbers, and every year they were losing £1 million because they had to try and conform to this price match stuff online and whatever. So they were always losing money, and there's certain companies out there like the big the brands and stuff. I won't mention any names, but they're saying, you know, you got to sell this for this price. So by the time they spent like an hour with the customer and shipped it out for free and done all this, they've made like no profit at all on it. So what they could make profit on, they're not allowed to. And when they have to price match things, they suddenly lose their profit and they have to stay competitive and do free shipping. So that costs them money. And so, yeah, it's really hard for a lot of these music shops. So I've discovered. But it gets worse.
It does?
Because PMT, they're quite a big store, aren't they? They're quite a big company. I think they've got like 10, 12 stores or something across the country. But you've heard of GAK, yeah? GAK.
Right.
Yeah, and you've heard of BAX.
Yeah.
BAX, yeah. Yeah, gone. They do not exist anymore.
Are they under the same name?
No, but from what I've done a bit of research, and they seem to have like vanished. But when you go to them if you type in their company name on Google, and you'll see that it says like GAK blah blah blah.com or whatever it is, but the logo is Gear for Music, and you click on it and it goes to Gear to Music site. Now they've stated somewhere that they're nothing to do with them, but why is their logo coming up, and why does it go straight through to their website from those names? So it's all a bit confusing what's going on. It's worrying because I've ordered from Gear for Music. I thought they were quite good, but if they're a big bully, and they've made other people go out of business maybe, and then bought them up cheap or whatever, this could be a nightmare.
Well,
I don't know what's going on really, but it's vicious, isn't it?
These are big stores that actually they have physical stores where you can see stuff, which is pretty useful when you want to buy something quite expensive, but you don't want to just buy it. You want to have a look first. Gear for Music, which is that just a British? No, it's not. It's .com. I don't know, but I know they're
just a big warehouse, aren't they? I don't think there's a shop, is there?
No, I don't think so. So all these big online stores that sell gear and whatnot, they're going to get more. Their outcome, they don't have to spend on an actual premises to show all this stuff. So
no, they don't got.
It is cheaper to run that way.
Yeah. And of course they got a warehouse they can buy in bulk. Therefore, they can sell a bit cheaper and sell at the same price, but still make good money, and keep the profits going, I guess.
So, GAK. I just had a look. GAK is called GAK Music Emporium, or was called that before it's permanently closed. But it was an emporium.
Yes, I have used GAK before because I bought my acoustic panels from them. I think I've bought the odd few things from BAX before, but I've not really gelled with the company, so I've only used them when I've really had to. So yeah, I don't really know much about either of them really, but PMT. I think I discovered them at uni, to be honest, and thought, oh yeah, that's a good company. Oh, they're all over the place, and then realised that when I lived in one part of the country, I was right next door to one of these stores, and I used to go in there nearly every week to buy something, and I didn't realise that's what it was called. I think they have had a name change somewhere down the line as well. I think it's always been PMT, but they have had a name change somewhere. But yeah, that's the big news.
Wow. Oh, that's interesting. PMT, which I think was originally owned by S&T Audio Limited, I think also has connections with Gear for Music. I think, there's obviously a bit of a shift in the music industry gear sector.
There's definitely some big changes going on, isn't there?
There are some big changes. Indeed. Anyways, should I lighten the mood?
Yes. Yeah, go on then.
talking about recent events, there's a new recent event that is I'm pretty happy about. Did you know that my favorite artist, Deadmau5, now has a 24/7 live stream radio
All right.
thing? Yeah.
He's DJing 24/7, is he? Never sleeping?
No. There's his Deadmau5 presents Airplane Mode, 24 hours progressive and melodic techno focused study music. Tracks from his Mousetrap label.
So his own music is on repeat for 24/7?
Mousetrap's music is on repeat for 24/7.
Oh, okay. Right, I'm with it. Yeah.
But I just thought, oh, that's a surprise. He's now got a 24/7 radio show.
Oh, good for him. Anyway, moving on.
In other news,
I don't think I like Deadmau5 anymore.
Oh, you must do.
No, I think the thing is, it's become like that. He's got like this sort of beef. Well, it's sort of not really beef at all. It's a bit of a laugh, but between my favourite music producer and your favourite music producer, and I did like both of them, but now I have to side with one of them now, I'm afraid.
Well,
you've sided with the other one, so strains our relationship. That does.
This is where I come into my next point. In news, your favourite producer, Mr. Hype,
Mr. James
debuted his new show. And
yes.
Sorry the pun. He definitely hyped it up. All I'm going to say about it.
Do you know, I do agree with you. I said this in my message to you. I agree with you. It is a bit. It's not amazing, is it? It's not.
It doesn't look groundbreaking at all. Sorry, but
no. But on the other hand, I mean, he is doing something that's quite cool, and I'm sure once they've put a bit more work into it. Obviously, this stuff takes a long time to program, so I get that. And once they've put a bit more work into it, I'm sure it will start to look really good in a year's time or something. But I mean, it's not like that guy. Oh, what's his name? That just sits in a cube and just plays a pre-recorded set where all the lighting and visuals are just all programmed and nothing can go wrong. Oh no, wait, it does. So he is doing all this live, which is quite impressive. So kudos.
I just wanted to discuss a little bit more about James, because he's been posting a lot on different platforms about his journey and what he's gone through to try and to get to where he is. And that's kind of my question, really, is, do you think that we should learn from what he's doing to get to where we want to be?
100%. Look where he is. It's worked for him.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he may embellish some things. He may hype things up. Pardon the name pun thing. But he is a good producer. You can't deny that.
He's got number ones, yeah.
He may play up to the camera a bit because he's marketing his career, but at the same time, he is a nice guy. I don't think I've ever heard anyone have a bad word to say about him. So yeah, I think he is a nice guy. Obviously, there are things there that you could say a bit weird, but he's building a career. He's got to do those things, unfortunately. and maybe we should learn from that and try and do something with it. I think he does. I think he uses some things in his life to help his career. Fair play. But I also think he tries to keep it as close to the truth as he can, and be honest. And I like that. I get that you have to sort of bend some of the rules, but I think he tries to keep everything as honest and as transparent as possible. And I do believe he tries to help people. So, yeah, I think it's someone to follow, to be honest, and follow in their footsteps type thing.
I think there's no denying whether you like the way he comes across or not, that he's definitely done something or a few things right to get to where he is.
Yeah.
And if that's where you want to head, then I guess focus. What's the best way to put this? Not necessarily look up to your idols, but follow the journey. Yeah. Of people that you aspire to be like.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's a lot in that. So going on that footnote, really here. Going on what you just said, does that mean you're gonna become a moody, miserable, argumentative, always right person that sits in a cube? Just putting out there with your cat.
Well, first I'd need to get a cat. But
you've got a cube. Lovely.
I think part of development is taking bits from everyone. So
yeah, but then you end up sort of taking the best of everyone, and it's a bit of yourself, and that makes you who you are. Then, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly. Very good.
Well, this was, I have to say, quite a interesting podcast this week. I quite enjoyed this.
I think it was hopefully very informative.
I think it's time to wrap up, but do we know what we're doing next week?
I know what one of the segments is, but I think we should keep it a little bit of a surprise.
Okay, so next week there'll be a surprising podcast. There we go. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. You can find all our stuff on social media, like the Instagram and the YouTube, and even Mixcloud, because it's out on Mixcloud now. As well as all the streaming platforms.
Yeah. We're out there.
We're out. And we haven't even mentioned about food.
No mention of food.
No mention of food.
I wasn't drinking wine this time. I was drinking.
Oh, you were. Oh, you had to be sensible today,
Germany.
Didn't you?
Yeah, well, that's sensible. I don't know. It's quite strong. It's like 6.7% German lager, mate. Yeah, it's good.
Very good.
Next time we'll discuss some food.
Yeah, we'll discuss some food.
Lovely. All right then.
Cool.
See you in the next one, dude.
See you in the next one. Bye.
Laters.